You are listening and watching to a very special podcast. Here we have more on Maggie Wolfe. Enjoy. Meanwhile, Beavy and the others were researching upon Dirge. Apparently, this guy was even more troubled. Well, not just from the wealthy background. As it turns out, just because he had all the money doesn't mean he was nothing more than just a spoiled brat. Ever since he was a child, all the way to where he was now. It seems Dirge was used to picking on people. When he was just a boy, he actually witnessed his depraved, sadistic uncle preying upon a woman, advancing on her, who was trying to resist and begging and pleading, but no, he didn't heed. Soon, Dirge began to prey upon girls. As a child, he would go and pull their hair, beat them, hurt them, even trying to chase them, of course. Usually, parents would blow this off as just kids' play, but the scrapes and bruises, they weren't from tripping and falling and kids' stuff. It got worse. In his teens, Dirge had the nerve to let his whole hormonal self become even more depraved. He would cause sexual harassment towards girls. He would peep on them and even talk explicitly about, of course, such violent things that he wanted to do to them. Calling them horrible profanities, insulting them. The girls tried to get some help. However, Dirge was always lucky. The girls weren't, and they were blamed for their actions. For a moment, the girls blamed themselves for not being able to protect themselves. It was pretty bad enough. But then came, of course, senior year. Dirge was really the most wealthiest guy around. To make matters worse, he was hosting a party. And also, as criminals showed in the records, it showed that he actually drugged some girls' drink, violated them, advanced towards them, hurt them in the most possible way, traumatizing them. The girl remained anonymous, but it seemed Dirge knew who it was. And that wasn't the first time. He did it to other girls. And he didn't give a shit. Sick, depraved bastard. But it wasn't until Beavy and the gang managed to discover that Silver Eden was telling the truth. As they dig deeper, they discovered the memory on the MPD. It showed a very unsettled Benjamin and a very unsettled Taylor, and a pompous-looking Dirge explaining the plan on how these people who were suffering from diseases and had only about maybe perhaps a few weeks, a month, or half a year to live. If Ben was going to help them live, he was going to have to dump the acid into the ocean of the beach where they were supposed to be to have some fun. The people, of course, were supposed to be there to have fun. When Ben heard this from Dirge's lips, he was shocked. Taylor wanted to protest, but Ben stepped in, saying, "There is no possible way we can't. That seems too risky." But Dirge laughed. Too risky. Come now. Don't you want to save them? I mean, there's all chock full of flesh of humans, those that want to be saved. Don't you dream of that world where hope replaces fear? Don't you want that? Ben was reluctant. Taylor did not want to be part of it, but Ben had to convince him, and that's how all of that started. However, before that incident, Dirge was just drinking and talking with his goons about how easily he tricked them, and he would have to create an army of infestations 1 million strong, and they laughed and joked about it. Beefy was fuming with anger. I can't believe it! Silver was right! She was telling the truth. They remembered how she had her hands out and saying, "Don't shoot, Bree! They're not the ones responsible. Please don't shoot!" This made Sting groan. Why didn't we listen to her? We should have listened to what she said, but hey, where was the proof at the time? Yeah, I have to agree with that, Lecter said. Beefy groaned. That's not the whole idea, you guys. We've been duped. We've been thinking that Ben's the cruel one. He had his hands dirty. But it was really Dirge that caused the whole idea. It was his idea. It wasn't Ben's. Dirge is to blame for all of this, and he convinced them to do it. This caused everyone to feel flabbergasted. They thought back to Ben's eccentricness. He had no cruelty in them. He was just eccentric. Yogi began to groan. How could we? He said. The Shinsengumi, and of course Squad 11, and all of the others, they couldn't believe it. Suka was even more displeased. Such cruelty. Really such cruelty, she said. Beefy clenched her hands into fists. Oh, that's it. The next time I see that bastard, he is so going to pay. Big time. I mean it. He is so dead once we find him. So dead. They didn't know what to think. Everyone was just speechless on what to do. They didn't know what to do next. They felt lost. They remembered Ben's words of not trusting Dirge and to dig a little deeper. Well, they dug deeper, and now they were starting to regret on what just happened. In the meantime, Maggie was having her arm around Yoichi, who was close to her. Kimizuki and Lola were standing side by side following them. They were close to each other, so they wouldn't get separated. The twin sisters, Lindsay and Evelyn, were just holding hands like sisters did. But they were creepy twins. Young ladies, dressing the same, looking exactly the same. That's when Pansy had to whisper, they're almost like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, except they're not stupid. And they are pretty much cunning. So, be aware. The twins were leading them in. They opened the door as they said, "Why don't you?" Evelyn said, and Lindsay finished, "Step right in." Then they both said, "It would be a real great pleasure if you could just step in." Maggie was a little surprised. She looked down to see there were little children. playing with one another. Pansy then clapped her hands. "Children!" The children looked up. They gasped with delight. "Pansy!" one of them said. The others followed in pursuit. "Pansy! Pansy! Pansy! Pansy!" "Hello, Pansy!" Descending towards the stairs, Pansy walked down as she said, while the others followed. "How are my darling corruption children doing today?" "We are doing excellent, thank you," said one. The other interrupted, saying, "Yes, we are." "Silence!" Pansy said, pointing a finger in a demanding tone. The boy backed down and said, "You will speak when you are spoken to." He was not finished. Yoichi felt bad. He was spoken. Yoichi objected. However, Pansy protested back, "Nonsense! The rule is no one interrupts the other. That is part of my rules. So, my dear, you were saying?" But the first boy just smiled and said, "I'm done. I don't have anything else to say, thank you. Can I go back to play?" "Fine." Just then, Yoichi felt like he heard someone letting out a purr sound. He looked, and it looked like an exotic short-haired cat. And it was so cute, with its round, huge, oval-like head, its big eyes, and it had a tender, softened-looking face to it. Then it let out a meow, meow. "Oh, hello there," Yoichi said, petting the cat. "And who are you?" "My corruption pets. They live the longest than any other pets in the world. Wonderful, aren't they?" "Wow! They're actually pretty cute." "I suppose they're the cutest and smartest." Pansy let out a laugh. "The cutest, yes. The smartest, no. They're the most maddest of hatters." She wished she didn't have to say that because one of the kittens began to whimper. However, Pansy felt bad, picked up the kitten and said to it, "Sorry, that was rude of me. I didn't mean it. I'm really sorry." And kissed the forehead of the little kitten, and it purred, and then rubbed its cheek against Pansy's. Pansy snuggled with it before giving it back to Yoichi. Yoichi cradled the little kitten. However, Pansy whispered, "They are quite mad. They may be cute, but they are mad. Shh, I didn't say anything. Come on." Yoichi looked at it. "Oh, I wish I could keep them." "Well, they solely belong here, where they're going to have to be kept safe. They aren't used as weapons. They're only used because, well, sometimes I just wanted to give something for people that have lost pets, who had them for a long time, and then they're gone. But these are long-lasting pets. They don't die, they don't do anything. They stay with you forever and ever. And you can't kill them no matter what. You just can't. They have the exact same acceleration." Oh. The whole life and death thing. All part of Benjamin's little experiment. These pets used to be part of experiments of Marcelo Hallows. "Oh, I didn't know that," Maggie said. "Yes." "Of course, it is quite a tragedy, isn't it? Come, I'll take you further." And so they went further. They encountered danger, such as Dumpsy and Dima, but that was about it. Thank you for listening and watching. See you next time. Bye!